teaching in general, and teaching these, I don't know, it's pretty fun. So that's why I decided to help out. So I guess hopefully you find it useful. Let me see. So can everyone see the screen? The back, the end? Yeah. Okay, that's good. So yeah, so I guess today, initially I was planning to do some introduction to like Tidyverse packages, but then since there are some people that have not used R before, then I guess I'll probably start with more basic stuff, I guess. Just a little bit. Well, I mean, either way, the data we'll be using will be the empty cars data set that's built in R, and it's very popular. People use it to do examples. So to load that data into your environment, assuming you have RStudio, you can just do like data and then empty cars, and then once you run it, you're gonna see it here. Now it's waiting. That should be there. Let me see. Huh? Oh, sure. Of course. Yeah. So I think the package. Okay, there we go. So now the package, sorry, the data it's here, and I guess if you're new to RStudio, you know when you click on here, you see like the hand. When you click on it, you can actually see it, see the data. So it's not like Excel where you can actually edit the cell, but at least you can see the data and it's not in the background. I guess once you read the data, I guess something that you might be interested is, I guess, checking the column names. I mean, obviously you can look at here, but another way to do it, so if you want to check the column names and then you don't want to look at here, you can always do it here, and then call names, and then you just type the data set name, and you can run it, and it'll show up here. Yeah, so you can highlight this here, and you can click run, or you can do Control Enter. Yes, Control Enter. I usually like to do Control Enter since it's easier, but you have to highlight it first because. And then I guess once other things that you might be interested to know is if you're new to R, would be like, for example, you want to access a certain column. So let's so let me delete this. So these are the columns in this data set, and this is the name. So the first one is called MPG. You can see it here as well. And this is what it means or what it represents. This one is cycle or number of cylinders, sorry, and then displacement, horsepower, and then you can see. So for example, if you want to access the fourth column, the horsepower, so it's this column, right? I'm assuming that's a common thing that you want to do. You don't want the whole thing. You just want one column and find the mean or calculate the average or something. So there are three ways of doing that. Well, So I guess the first way is, since this is the fourth column, you can just type this square bracket and then with the comma, and you can just type a 4 here, which is just like here. And this, it will give you the fourth column because 1, 2, 3, 4. And then again, you can highlight it and run, and you can see, all the values. That's one way to access it. And of course, if you want the third or the fifth or the first, you can change it to 1, 5, whatever number you want. And then the second way, which I personally like, it's easier, is using the $sign. So this way, if you have RStudio, it will actually show you all the columns. So you can just use the arrow or use your mouse to pick the one that you're interested in. So like I said, so we wanted the HP, right? So you can just do that. And also that's an advantage of using RStudio instead of the base RGUI, which is this is a lot more convenient. But yeah, so if you do this, again, you highlight it, you click run. Let me see. Yeah, so it's the same thing. See, you output pretty much the same thing. And then the third way, it's similar. I guess it's like a hybrid between the first two. It's like this. So you can use the bracket and similar as first, but instead of typing 4, you type the name directly. So yeah, it's like the hybrid of the first two. So this, I guess, again, so this way also allows you to access the column that you're interested in. So you see, I guess it depends on what you're doing with the column. If you just want to say the average or something, it's the same. Doesn't matter which one you use. But if you want to put it in a loop or, I don't know, some other code, one way might be better than the other. Because if you have it in a loop, then usually you loop over numbers, then you would prefer to use the first one. And yeah, it's hard to, and this one usually doesn't work if you want to put it in a loop because you cannot, it's hard to change this with a string, with like this. But yeah, so I guess depending on what you're using it for, one way might be better than the other. Well, any questions so far? Yeah.
The third way would be more difficult if you want to use string,
right? I'm sorry.
It's more easy for you to use the string.
Yeah, if you want to put in the actual name, so if you have so for example, so suppose I have this fact. So suppose this, I have this from, I don't know, somewhere I type it up. So it's this, it has all these, actually, no, you know what? I'll just take the first 4. So I just want the first 4 values. So suppose I have these 4 MPG, CYL, this, and HP. Somewhere, I don't know where I got it, but I have this. And then if you want to loop over this 4 elements, then you want to grab them one by one, then it will be easier to use this one. Because yeah, if you already have the names, it will be easier to use this one, of course. So because this one you need to know the number. Obviously, in this case, I picked 1, 2, 3, 4, but then sometimes it might be the first, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Then it's kind of hard to loop when you have a list like that, right? Or a set of numbers. So
which the column you use, right?
Yeah, so here you just enter the name, directly enter the name, and then you get that column. Okay. Yes. Any other questions? Okay. What else? Are there any thing that you, yeah. Oh, no problem. So, all I did was just reading the data, that's all.
This will be available
I'm going to remove these.
and we'll have the sample file either there or in the event issue on GitHub. So this will all be missing.
Yeah, so I guess since we have like some people that are not as beginners, so I want to move to using the Tidyverse package because it's a very useful package for data cleaning compared to using the base R functions. The one that I want to, I guess, show is this one, dplyr. That's a very popular package. It's one of the packages in this Tidyverse package. So this one has like a lot of packages that are designed for data cleaning. So yeah, let me go down here. Okay. So I guess you can just, if you don't have this package, you can install like this. Install packages. You can either do Tidyverse, then it will install everything. And if you want to just install that one, obviously you can do that as well. So you can do this if you just want that one, obviously. You might want, I think you probably need to install this one on this as well, because I think it's not in the Tidyverse. I don't know, sometime it is for me. I don't know why, but I might, if I have time, I might go do some stuff with this package too. So, but yeah. So this is how you install the packages. Oh yeah, I should have been. Yeah, so exactly. So
anytime when you use, you open the R library.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So need to do every time you open R. There we go. So even, yeah, so only need to do once, I guess. Only need to do once. I mean, obviously when you update it, that's different, but when you install it, obviously you have to, I mean, you only have to install once. And then after that, every time if you want to use this package again, for example, then you have to do library package. Yeah, low package in the current environment. Yeah, so that's how you get these packages. So now let's start using them. But one thing, let me, I'm gonna type out the stuff first. So one thing with this package, I guess, so you see here on the side here, you see all these names, the car names. So these are like the name of the car or the model. So this is actually in the row name of the data. So and remember, you can I mean, obviously you can do this to see it. Oh, oops, sorry. MT cars, not data. So you see, these are all the row names. So one thing with when you use dplyr or Tidyverse is that it doesn't like to use row names. So when you use a when you use any of the functions, these things will be gone. So let me show you. So for example, well, I mean, one thing. So the first thing I will show is like filter. So you want to take out. You don't want the whole data set. You only want part of it, right? So so the first one I had, it's like you want AM equals to 0, and AM meaning is it automatic or manual transmission. So AM equals to 0, it's automatic. So what you would do is filter empty cars AM equals to 0. Remember, you have to put 2 equal sign in R if you want to say something. The value is equal to 0, because when you use one equal sign, that's assigning it to something. So if you do this, so it's going to give me all the cars. So when you go here, you can see some of them is 1, some of them are 0, right? So when you do that, you end up with only the ones that have 0 value in this column, right? So let me run it, but you will see. Hopefully I don't get an error. That's good. So now you have all the zeros for AM, right? So so all you do, so what I did here is for this data set, I want to filter out all cars with automatic transmission, i.e. take out the manual transmissions. And I guess, yeah, what I want to show is, you see here, they are gone, the car names, right? So that's what I was saying earlier. With Tidyverse or dplyr, it doesn't tell you to. So when I first used it, I didn't even know this, and then I was reading the manual, and it tells me that it drops it silently, so it doesn't tell you that it's dropped. So I guess to prevent that from happening, because then you might have some, I guess, useful information which you have this case. You want to know the name of the cars, right? Obviously. So you can use this function, row names to column. So I guess it's yeah.
Where is the function? Where do I need to import it?
The function?
Yeah.
The filter function?
No, the row names.
Oh, yeah. So I'm getting. So you need to use. So in order to not lose these information, you need to, or you should use this function, row names to column. So you just instead of having it in the row name, you just move it to a column explicitly. So you're gonna move all these names into in the column. Usually it's gonna start in the first. So so to use that function, like what this gentleman was asking, you can either use this package Tibble, but if you have the Tidyverse, this is in there already. So when you load Tidyverse, you're gonna have this package already. So I mean, it's up to you if you want to just do it individually, or But yeah, so yeah, so that function is from this package Tibble. So yeah, so what this does, like I said, it moved all those information from a column name to a row name. Oops, sorry, not. So yeah, for this function, you need to specify the data that you're converting the row names to. So the empty cars, and then you need to also specify a name of the new column that you're creating for the column, the row names. So I call it car model because it's the model of the car, right? You can call it whatever you want, So so if you do this, so I highlight it, I click run, and then now you can see. Oh, I missed the IS. What did I do? So it's actually here now. Yeah, see, it got moved. Instead of here, it moved to, so initially it was here, right? You see, and then now you move it explicitly as a column. So now when you use any function from the dplyr or tidyverse, you're not going to lose those information. And let me get back. So I guess the person who made this package, his philosophy is that what's the point of having role names when you can just treat it as a column, because it's easier to manipulate if you have it as a column. So that's why he doesn't like to use role names in his packages. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna write this move role names car models to a column call name model, so that it won't be dropped when dplyr functions are applied. So yeah, that's the reason why.
What's the DFs?
Oh, dplyr. That's the package.
Oh, package.
Yeah, that's this package, dplyr. Role name of data. Okay, so once you do this, and then if I do the same thing again, the car name should be still there, I hope. Yeah, so you see, so now, usually, I guess it depends on the data, because at least for me, when I do any analysis, usually I don't have role names. But like if I do have the first column, I'll just name it something. Maybe like in this case, for example, I'll name it directly car model, so I don't have to worry about things like these. But yeah, anyway, so just wanted to highlight that. Yes, so now, well, that's filter, right? So now what if you want to filter out two things? So here you filter out all you only want the auto transmission cars, but what if, in addition to only automatic cars, you also want cars with straight engine? So whether it's straight or V shape, it's defined here, column 8. If it's 0, then it's V-shaped, and then if it's 1, then it's a straight engine. So here I want two things. I want an automatic transmission car with a straight engine, or with straight engines. So how do I do that? Obviously, you can do it twice. So you can do it, the long way, I guess. You can filter out once. So filter out once will get you, remember, will get you this. So essentially, you just need to, in this data set, you want to kick out, you want 1. So you want the straight engine. So you want these ones, right? So you only want these ones, because VS is 1. That means it has a straight engine. So like I said, you can do it, I guess, the long way, where first you do this line to get all the automatic transmission car, and then you do another one, which is sort of like, okay, I apply it to data 1. So, and then I just do VS equals to 1. So that means a straight engine. So if I do this, so I'm applying to data to that 1, which is this data set, automatic cars. So this way, so now you get VS is 1, AM is 0. And that it's, I would call that's the long way to do it. You can actually do it in like one line. So, so instead of doing, I guess, what you would have done, which is like doing this, you can also do something like this. I guess let me put it. or something easier. At least it's easier to read. So I'm going to call it that 3. So you just take the empty cars. So first I want AM equals to 0. And then all you need to do is just add in an extra comma. I believe it's that correct syntax. So you want automatic, you want straight shaped. So you just put it in one line, easier to read, right? So let's run this, that 3. So see, you get the same thing. You can, that 2 and that 3 are exactly the same. Any questions so far? All right. Let me know if I am going too fast, because sometimes I might speak too fast, so, or teach too fast. Okay. So that's the first, I guess, function from dplyr that I think will be very useful when you want to do some initial data cleaning. You want to filter out things that you need or you don't need, right? The next, I guess the next function, it's you want to create a new column. So you want to, I don't know, combine 2 columns and get something, or you want to, I don't know, apply some math to one of the columns and you want to create a new column. I think that's also like a very common functions or things that you might do. So in that, or that function is called mutate in dplyr. So I guess the name would make sense. You create mutate, you're creating new things. So I guess the example I have here, where is it? So the question, or the things that I want to show you, it's so WT, it's weight, but it's in thousands of pounds. So if you go to the data, WT is 2.62. That means it's 2,620 pounds, right? But I mean, what if you're not from America and you want to use kilogram, right? So then you want to convert that to kg. So you do that, and I want to create a new column. I don't want to, just to do that, you just use the function mutate. So obviously, the data set you're applying to is empty cars, and then I guess whatever I'm going to call it WT kg. You note that it's the weight in kilogram, right? So it will be the initial weight, I guess times 1,000, because these are in thousand pounds. I want to convert them back to pounds, and then also times 0.4356. So yeah, here I'm creating a new column. So I guess you can see that it's very similar to, in terms of how you enter the stuff into the function. It's kind of similar. The first here, you always put the name of your data set, and then the second entry is the function, or the function you're performing. So here I'm filtering out, but here I'm creating a new column, right? So once that's done, you just click run. And if you go here, you can see now you have a new column. That's the weight of the car in kilograms. Oh yeah, I guess you might have noticed. So in RStudio, when you open the data set like that, you can sort stuff. You can sort them by clicking them. increasing, decreasing. So I guess that's convenient sometime. And you can do search right here. You've got Honda Civic. So I guess they're trying to make it to kind of close to Excel, where it has a pretty nice user interface. So yeah, any question with mutate? No? Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's very straightforward and easy to understand. And then I guess we're going to do one more. So here I am creating, or sorry, I want to convert the qsec. So qsec means how much time it takes to go a quarter mile. So right now it's in seconds, but I want to convert them into minutes. So qsec. So I mean, I'm going to call them qsec min. Let's go to the data first. So qsec, these are in seconds, right? But I want to know what's 16.46 second in minutes. So you just do, instead of multiply, you divide qsec divided by 60. So that will convert whatever time you have here into minutes. So again, first argument, always the data. Second one is what you're applying, what function you're performing. Second entry. Once that's done, again, highlight it, click run, or control enter. Oops, not here. So now you see they're all in minutes. So this is like 0.27 minutes for this car to go a quarter mile.
The mutate is like create new column, right?
Yes.
But how about I want this one to replace with the new? I don't want to see all the column.
Then you just use the same name. So suppose, yeah, let's. So if you want to replace the qsec, I mean, you don't want to create a new column. You want to just replace. Okay. So replace the old qsec with minute it takes to go quarter mile instead of creating a new column. So yeah, I mean, I guess sometimes you want to do that too. Yeah, that is true. So all you do is just you give it the same name. That's so instead of adding the minute, you don't add it, just use whatever the name initially is. And then if you do that, then you're gonna replace that column with the new values. So yeah, control enter. Yeah, see, now you just replace everything in the qsec with minutes instead of I guess if you have a big data set, this will make sense. So then it doesn't take that much space. So yeah. Any questions? Okay. So yeah. So that's the function. I mean, those are the two functions that I want to show. I guess I will show you one more, but I guess yeah. Let's show it here first then. The last function I want to show is to summarize. So summarize allows you to, I mean, obviously to summarize the data. So you can maybe calculate the average or the max or the mean or the median or how many data points are there or something. So so for example, for our data set, I guess I'm interested in the average. Let's look at the original one. I'm interested in the average mile per gallon. And then I'm also interested in the average horsepower of the cars, right? So if I mean, there are many ways to do it, but if I want to use the function summarize to do it, then Average. Let's call this average. So if you want to use summarize, again, same thing. You the first entries is always the data, so empty cars, and then now you start typing. What are you trying to do? So here I want to calculate the average, right? So calculate the average MPG and horsepower. Let me write that. So MPG. Average. So you can give it a name. So I'm going to call it average MPG. It's equal to mean. So that's the average function in R. It's mean. That's just a different name for average. So mean bracket MPG. So if you do this, I will show you the other. But if you do this, then you get the average. But I also want, remember, the horsepower, right? So I'm going to put them in different lines because it's too long. So average horsepower. So that's something else that I'm also interested. Same thing, mean, and then horsepower is HP. So HP. So if you do this, so once you run that, and then now save as average FIC. So you can get the average. And yeah, like I said, with all these functions, if you're doing it this way, the first entry is always the data, and then after you put a comma, and then it will be all the data manipulation that you're performing. So here you're filtering, here you're creating new column, here you're summarizing and calculate the average. But obviously there are other things that you can do too. So I guess, yeah, we still have it. So any question before I move on? Yeah.
From the summarize function, we can't just assign the average directly to the average something.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can, of course.
Why would you prefer using a summarize?
Because if you want to summarize maybe a lot of stuff, like 10 different columns, and also it's also you might not see it here, but I'll if we have time I'm going to show you that it might be useful when you're doing not just getting the mean, but you want to do some cleaning before doing the mean, so you can put them all in one line. It will make it look nicer. So I guess it's like here in this step here, if you want to filter out two things, you can do it like this way, but you can make it prettier like this. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. So also you can do it this way. You can just do here. I think you can still give you a name, but remember you can access the data like using the $sign, for example, right? So you can also do it this way if you want to. So mean empty cars MPG. You can obviously you can always, of course, do it this way. So this is yeah. So if we do it this way, I think you can still assign name, but let me see. I think it's like this. Actually never done this. So you can do it this way as well, and then yeah. get the same thing. Is it? Actually, no, it's different because the first one, when you do it, this will be a data frame. That's like a type of data, but this one will be like a vector. So it's slightly different. But I mean, obviously, the end result, you see the mean of the two things. But yeah, okay. So the last thing I want to, hopefully, I'm going to go to. So it's the one from this package, like a piping operator. I mean, it will make your code look a lot nicer. So so I mean, you can install it and then you do a library. So the one that I want to show you is this one, the forward piping operator. So with this, actually I can, because notice every time when I do all these filtering, mutate, and summarize, every time I have to keep, especially here, you see if first I filter this, if I want to filter on this again, I have to type the data again. But then with the forward piping, the arrow, you don't have to do this every time. It will save you some time and the code will look slightly more readable. So what I mean by that is like, or how to do that. I will combine all the stuff that we have done so far in like one. So first, what we did was this, right? We have to move the row names, right? So that's the first thing we did. So I'm going to copy this. Empty cars. So all you do is that, and then so what this does is that and then you don't have to this anymore. So so before, remember, you have to type this. You have to type this. But if you use this operator, then you don't have to type the data name, because R knows that, okay, you're referring to empty cars. So if you do this, you get the same thing. Oh, oops, I have to read it again. It's okay. Right. So see, you get the same thing. You move the road name to here. And then the second thing we did was we filter, right? So let's say I want to do these two operations. So instead of typing those lines that you saw, you don't have to do that. You just do the percentage sign, arrow, percentage sign, filter. And again, you can take out this part because R knows that you're doing the filtering to this data set. You don't have to type that again. So you can just do this. So let's see. I guess. So you see, first I moved the row names, and now I also filter out only have BS equals to 1 and AM equal to 0. And then the next thing we did was create new columns, right? So again, use the same thing, the percentage, arrow, percentage. Again, you don't need this anymore. You can take it out because R already knows. So if you run this whole thing, you performing all the stuff that we just did. So I guess, yeah, so I guess we can add the qsec too. That's another thing we did. So converting from second to minutes. So instead of having to keep typing the same data, you don't have to do that. So save you a little bit of time, I guess. So if I run these 5 lines of code, I'm going to get the same data set. You created a new column for rates and then for the time, but you also filter out the VS and AM, and also you move the row names into actual column called car model. And I guess so. The last thing we did was summarizing, right? So back to that gentleman's question. So I guess one of the reasons why you want to use summarize instead of doing this manually is because so that you can put it here. So you want to summarize, right? Summarize. So I want average MPG. And then I also want average horsepower, right? So you can also put the summarize here, and when you run this, you're going to end up with just the two numbers that you saw. But obviously it will be different because you did the filter. Oh, not this one. See? So in terms of the number you get, it's exactly the same as if you do it line by line. But with this operator, it makes it very easy to read. It knows that you're applying all these functions to this data set, and step by step. First, you apply this one, and then the next one you did the filter, and then you create new columns. So yeah.
So the order matters in that
Yes.
you're doing the mean at the end, you're doing the mean on the reduced data set, on the full data set.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I guess if you're doing it this way, any way you do, it will the order of how you put these function matters, because here I'm applying the function average to the data set that only has these values, not the full data set. Obviously it's different from initially. Yeah, initially I didn't do the filtering. I did it on the whole data set. So you can see the number will be different. So you see, this is with the filter data set, and this is the full data set. It's slightly different, 2009, 20.74. So yeah, this, and if you don't want, you can just take this out. You can delete it, and then if you do this, you're applying to the full data set because you didn't filter anything, right? So if I click run, so it'll be the same, see? So it makes it more convenient, I guess, if you want to, especially if you have a lot of manipulation you have to do before you can start, that you have to apply to a data set, because your code might get very messy. And if you use this operator, it makes it very easy to read. Also, it's easy, like here you see I can comment here, and then you know what I did. I move the row names to a column, I filter, and then I create new columns, and then I get the mean. So very easy to read. I guess that's the main advantage. So yeah, I think we're at the time. So I guess that's how all I will cover today. But any last minute question? Okay, good.
Timeline and how to use timeline scripting in Bash specifically to make migration